Well, hello everybody out there. This is Garrett from 11 Bang Bang. Had some questions here recently about what books you should use to get into post-Civil War Colt firearms histories of. If you'll notice here, I have quite a few books. None of them, I will tell you right now, are on the 73 single action yet. I have a few. There are a lot of books out there on the 73 single action. This is basically everything I have right now that is covering the Civil War, into the Civil War, and on to 1872. And I'm just going to give a few updates here because I'm also starting another series at the same time. But this is what I got going on. I have been on hiatus from the Colt series, as most of you know, for almost a year now. I stopped at the 1861 Navy, and there's a reason for that. I like to include an original, at least here lately. I do enjoy including an original in every one of my videos. The trouble was, I could find originals of the 1862 Pocket Police. Not that I'm going to have one of those necessarily, but what I really wanted an original of was the 1862 or 65 or 53, depending on who you are. We'll get into that in the video. Pocket Navy. And we had actually paid a lot of money and bought one once. It wound up being stolen from the person we bought it from before we could get it delivered. And we got our money, our refund back. But, you know, it was just one of those things. We really wanted to have an original in that video. And like I said, I've been hunting for original one for under $1,500. And since almost all of these, and there weren't very many of the 62 Pocket Navy were converted, an original is very hard to find. Well, lo and behold, Snapper from Snapper's Antique Firearms Unlimited, if you haven't, go check out his channel, happened to be walking through the Antique Arms Show in Las Vegas and stumbled upon one for a very good deal, and he bought it. Now, we're not going to buy it from him or anything. It is his, but he might be going to loan that to us, and as soon as that happens, we can continue on with the Colt series. But anyway, we are up to the 62 Pocket Navy, so we're getting close to out of the Civil War. It's time to start moving on in my studies. I have this many plus books, you know, on the history of before the Civil War Colt firearms. And I get a lot of my information from Duke Frazier, who has a lot more books on the 1837 to 1860, you know, that era of Colt, the 51 Navy, the Dragoons, the Walkers, the 49 pocket model. He has all that, but we are moving on into pocket models of 1862 and 65 or 62, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, we'll get into that in the episode, but just a few of these books here that we're going to be going through. I just kind of wanted to show you. First of all, we got down here, this is my Colt Bible. This is a history of the Colt revolver by Haven and Belden, and I use this book so much that the pages are literally just falling out of it. I need to get it rebound. We're going to be getting into conversions. So we have the Colt 1851 and 61 Navies and Conversions. This is a really good book by Robert M. Jordan. Actually, I'm pretty happy about this one because this one is actually autographed. And he actually put a piece of paper in here, wrote me a note when I bought this. So it's a pretty important book. And up here we have, when we get into these little guns, these three in the middle, very important little guns no one talks about. The Derringers, the house models, and the 22 open top, very important. When we get into those, we'll be looking at these books right here. This is The Collecting of Derringers, manufactured by Moore, National, and Colt by L.D. Eberhardt. That is a very good book. Kind of a coffee table book, but has a lot of good information in it. And, of course, we will be doing Colt's Firearms at the Brink, Richard Jarvis and the Open Top 22, Hold the Line, one of my absolute favorite books. Then up here we have variations of Colt's, New Model Police and Pocket Breech-Loading Pistols. This is by Breslin, and it has some very, very good information in it. And I know that there's been videos put out, especially by Seeing Arsenal here lately. Very good video, by the way, who claims that in the evolution of the pocket model book, which I have, by the way, it's just not in here, that there is information on the adoption of the 62 Pocket Navy in 1861. I would like to find that in there. I haven't found that in that book. Maybe he was just talking about actually talking to the authors. I don't know. But Breslin, John D. Breslin down here, gives a very, very good analysis and reasoning for the 1862 Pocket Navy being made in 1865. Like I said, I don't get a horse in that fight. A lot of people seem to think or take that fight to the death, but I'm not going to get into that too deeply. I personally believe in the 1865 date, but if Othnius has found an 1861 Army adoption of the 62 Pocket Navy, then I believe him. He's usually pretty good on his information. Over here, why am I having the Colt Model 1860 Army book out after I've already done the 1860 Army? Well, this is a book by Pate, and this is probably the most information packed into a book on Colt besides Haven and Belden you can find. Because not only does it cover that, it covers the history of the dragoons, pictures of experimental dragoons with top straps, conversions, all kinds of stuff, and carries on into stuff that was after the war and conversions of the 1860 Army, which we will be getting into. Yes, some of them were adopted by the military, surprisingly. So anyway, down here we have one of my favorite books on pocket models, and this is the Old Pocket Pistol, Variations of by Shoemaker. And actually, this is a very special book to me because when I didn't even know who Duke Fraser was, he gave me this, and I can't remember if he signed it or not. No, he didn't, but he did give me this book for free when I was first starting out, and he knew everything about Colts, and I knew nothing. And so that's a very important book to me, and the reason it's still on here is because we do have to go through the 62 Pocket Navy and 62 Pocket Police, and there's information in there on those, and that book specifically debunks the 1853 manufacturing date of the 62 Pocket Navy. Very important because some people still believe that. And down here we have the 1862 Army Officer's Pocket Companion. Has some very interesting information in there that could pertain to both the, probably at least to the 62 Pocket Police and officers' pistols and things like that. Over here we have Colt, The Making of American Legend by Hoseley. I use this book a lot just for descriptions and biography of Colt's life. The autobiographies are good. Of course, they don't go clear to the end. And this actually does a lot of discussion on Elizabeth Jarvis and her collections. And I really do treasure this book. Some of the things in there have been proven wrong after the years. I always back everything up when I come to these things with another book source. But this is my main source. There's a gazillion biographies of Colt out there, and I have them in there, and I usually back it up. But I just brought this one out because it's the main one I go to for general information on Colt and his factory. And down here we have Firearms of the Texas Rangers from the Frontier Era to the Modern Age by Doug Dukes. Very good book. I have not had a chance to read this thing through all the way yet, by the way, because, man, that thing is huge. Lots of information packed in there. But there is going to be some information in there that I know I'm going to need on Colts after the Civil War, especially the 73 Single Action Army and things. Like I said, haven't had a chance to read it all the way through yet. Would love to eventually. Now, down here, we have the 41 Short Rimfire, Deadliest Rounds in the West. And that is by Michael Murphy. That is going to pertain to this and this, as both of those are chambered in 41 Rimfire Short. Very interesting little book. I don't know if I would agree that it's the deadliest round in the West, but probably round for round, a lot more 41 Rimfires fired than about anything else because there were a lot of little pocket pistols. And that's pretty well what I got for my books that I'm going forward with in the Colt series. These are all guns that are going to be involved somehow, one way or the other. Yes, this one is loaded, but it's on the safety pin. I'm going to take it out and shoot it a little later today. We're still dealing with some conversions. There's an original 1860 Army. This is the fluted cylinder 1860 Army there. 62 Pocket Navy, and the Lightning, which I have, actually this one's a Thunderer. I have a Lightning over there, the 77 double action, and the Pocket Police, and those three, which are the 22 open top, the Colt Cloverleaf House model, and the Colt Derringer. But overall, we're moving forward on this series slowly. Like I said, I've been looking for an original 62 Pocket Navy for a long time. Hopefully everything works out there and we can move forward using snappers. Like I said, go check out his channel because he has a abundance of originals. But as I said in the title, there are some channel update announcements happening, and that is I'm also about to start a whole nother series. Now, if you can see here, we got the Remington handgun. We got another, that one's the Lightning, the British Bulldog. We have the 1892/1901 revolver there. And we have a cut down. Yes, I know it is cut down before you tell me. This one has some historical provenance in and of itself. 1866. We have a full-length 1866 on the way, and we have the Cadet Trapdoor here in 5070. I don't have them here yet, but on the way is, like I said, a full-length 66, a 68, the 69, the 70, the 73, and the 82, and the 92. All of them are purchased, just waiting for them to get here. We are going to start a series on the history of the Allen conversion trapdoors. And these are some of the books I got here already. Trapdoor Springfield, very good, covering the 73. A little bit covers the pre-73 models, but from 73 on, really good. Uniform Arms and Equipment, and this particular book covers only the years of 1880 to 92, which still has a lot of good trapdoor information in there. Frontier Regulars by Robert M. Utley, and this covers basically everything that they are carrying and using from 66 to 91. Haven't got a chance to read some of these yet. Also, these little fort books, you can pick them up at about every fort museum you go to. This is just one of them. I have quite a few of them. I'm going to be using those. Right now, my favorite one that I've just barely started is the Wagon Box Fight, an episode of the Red Clouds War. And that's where we're going to see the 66 model trapdoors first go into battle with the 5070 cartridge. Yes, this one right here. Minus about 6 inches of barrel there and an extra barrel band. But this one, like I said, when I get to the series, we are going to shoot this one because it has some very interesting historical provenance. By the way, I've done some research. Actually went up to Fort Larned, Kansas here recently just to do and ask some questions. And I did find out that there are some very interesting stories on Buffalo or Bill Cody's 1866 that he used in 1867 and 1868 to get the name Buffalo Bill, killing 2,000 buffalo in less than 2 years for the railroad. And yes, he used a full-length 1866. He called it Lucretia Borgia. That was the name of the gun. It's still on display, has the stock broken in the Cody Firearms Museum. But no one seemed to know where it came from. I had an inkling that it came from Fort Larned, Kansas, or Fort Dodge. Somewhere in there, because he had this gun in 1867 when not only did no civilians have it, very few military people had it. And it turns out that it's very possible that he took that rifle from Fort Larned with a letter that, because he had no gun, he was supposed to take that rifle and a letter to Fort Dodge, turn them in, and pick up another weapon there. And they were supposed to return the rifle to Fort Larned because, you know, very rare rifle at the time. In 1867, they hadn't been turned out. Evidently, he arrived at Fort Dodge, and the letter arrived at Fort Dodge, but the rifle just kept going with him for the rest of his life. Like I said, killed 2,000 buffalo in 67 and 68, and earned the nickname Buffalo Bill Cody. So that's very interesting, some things I've been learning there. But anyway, like I said, we are running both of these series side by side right here. These are literally all the books I have on it at the moment. I have got to build my collection. If you guys got any information, any good book suggestions for the trapdoor rifles, preferably right now they would be books focusing on the 65 model through the 73, not counting the 73 yet. I got quite a bit of information on that book, or I have a lot of information on that rifle, specifically even in that Trapdoor Springfield book by Bud White and B.D. Ernst. But yeah, also, since we're carrying on both of these, and Ethan is carrying on the Smith & Wesson series, let us know if there's anything in those that you would like to see different shooting variations. Should we add more people? You know, any suggestions you got for our historic series? You know, the Colt series already has 9 episodes in it. The Smith & Wesson series has 3. But carrying on forward, if you got any suggestions on how we can do better, let us know in the comments down there. Anyway, I'm sure that Ethan's going to give you a reading list on Smith & Wesson pretty soon. This right now is my reading list on Colt from, like I said, this is only the set of books that I'm using to cover basically from 1863 to 1872. I got books in there on the bookshelf that cover the years prior. But anyway, yeah, this is my reading list for Colt. Some people were asking for it. Haven and Belden, the 51 to 61 navies and conversions, the collecting of Derringers, manufactured by Moore National and Colt by Eberhart, variations of Colts, New Model Police, and pocket loading breech pistols by Breslin. The Richard Jarvis and the Open Top 22 Hold the Line by Robert Schwartz. Definitely need to get the Colt Model 1860 Army Revolver by Pate. The Old Model Pocket Pistol by Schumacher, however you want to pronounce that. Colt and Making American Legend by Hosley. Firearms of the Texas Rangers by Doug Dukes. 62 Officers Pocket Companion. The 41 Short Rimfire, deadliest round in the West. And that's pretty well what I'm covered there. Like I said here, can't really give you a review on these books because I have not had a time to get through them all the way yet. Still working on them. By the way, all these revolvers are going to fall into the Indian War time period that these rifles are going to be used in. So anyway, that's all for this video. Trust in God and keep your powder dry.